For people who really want to stay in budget, you need to go backwards.
So you want to make an impact. You're thinking about starting a business, sharing your voice. How do women do it that handle motherhood, family, and still chase after those dreams? Well, listen each week as we dive into the stories of women who know. This is Call Me CEO. Welcome back. I hope that you just finished the last episode with Melea from The Melea Show, sharing how she built a money savings business through a blog, a YouTube channel, and now sharing things on social media for you to save the most money that you can. Now, Melea is a personal friend of mine, and we could have talked forever and ever, but I wanted to divide up these episodes that you knew this one specifically was about what to do with Black Friday, how to save the most money, and how to organize your time with notes and the best tips so that you can have the best holiday possible. Now, Melea and I both prescribe to giving less gifts and more adventures and experiences. So that's part of the episode as well. But to give you a brief recap, Melea attended the University of Utah, where she graduated with a bachelor's degree in broadcast journalism and founded a blog, Freebies to Deals, in 2009. And it was all about saving money. That was actually how I first met her, where she created this deal blog that became one of the biggest deal blogs in the United States. She was able to sell that blog in 2016, and she reevaluated her life, decided she wanted to do things a little bit differently, and started a YouTube channel, which she then grew and grew and grew, and shares weekly, sometimes monthly advice on how to save money the best way possible. Now, if you want to hear more about how she's been able to create an incredible business and a healthy balance for herself as a business owner and wife and mother, please listen to the last episode. This episode, we're specifically talking about how to save money on Black Friday, which, as we know, is starting sooner and sooner. And I'm going to be making this live the first week of November so that you can get started early. Let's do this. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Call Me CEO. I hope you have just listened to the last episode, because we are here again with Melea from The Melea Show, who is an expert about saving you money and also creating a life that you can enjoy by saving money in a way that you can spend it on things that you love. So, Melea, thank you for being here again. We're going into episode 2. Last episode was so good, all about your life and everything that you've done up until this point to save money and also to find a balance for yourself in your family as a wife, a mother, and a business owner. And this episode is going to be primarily about how to save money for Black Friday and saving money in a way that gives you freedom to do the things you really want to do. So thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, I'm excited. More podcast time. Let's do this.
Let's do this. Okay. So obviously Black Friday, getting into deals, it has been a huge passion of yours. That's why you started the blog years and years ago, was to help others save money and find ways to do Christmas in a way that they can actually enjoy it and not be worrying about it. I remember my parents shopping literally on Christmas Eve. They would get money from my grandparents on Christmas Eve, and they were educators. We didn't have a ton of money growing up. And so that last bit of money that they got from my grandparents was to help them get those Christmas gifts we were really hoping for. And I know that they could have absolutely benefited from learning how to save money and plan ahead had they had access to a blog or a YouTube channel or something like that, telling them how to do it. So I think you're blessing so many lives. And tell us about what we can do now as busy parents to save money and enjoy the holidays.
Well, I think the first thing we probably need to touch on is the supply and demand issue that's happening right now in our country. I don't care what side of the political aisle you fall on. This affects everybody. And it's a bigger deal than I think most people realize. The amount of container ships with all of our product that we use. I mean, most of the stuff that we consume here in the United States is not made in the United States. It is made overseas. The last article I read last week was we have $23 billion worth of product sitting off the coast of California right now. 23 billion. The last I checked, it was over 100 shipping containers, or vessels, I should say. And not only is that Christmas items, toys and all that kind of stuff. It's your furniture. It's food. It's literally everything. And so the thing that's been very interesting is, the big stores like Target and Costco and Walmart, they've ended up purchasing their own smaller shipping vessels in order to go into smaller ports to get their product. So we have that happening, right? This year, for the first year ever, I followed Black Friday deals for 12 years now. And every year, it's gotten sooner and earlier. I can always count on the very first week of November for there to be early Black Friday deals. And when I say early Black Friday deals, it isn't like, oh, there's some cool deals. No, these are legit priced Black Friday deals, the same ones you would find over Thanksgiving week early. And stores do that to get your money early, to compete against the other stores. And literally, it's just like cats and dogs fighting over your money. It's always been like that. And even last year, 1st of November was when everything started. Well, because of the shipping and demand and all that issue that's going on right now, stores actually started like the third week of October. And so I was seeing legit Black Friday deals from Amazon and from Target, and they've just started earlier than ever. And the most interesting thing is because, normally I'll get leaked versions of the ads from these brands since I've worked with them for so long, or sometimes they'll end up online. There are not any leaked versions of the legit Black Friday ads for Black Friday week right now. And if I was to guess, it's because they have no idea what they're going to have. So I don't think normally, people from the companies will leak the ads, right? They'll put them all over online and you can have an idea of what's going to happen in those Black Friday ads. There are no leaked versions of the ads. So I don't think they've created them yet. So here we are, what is it? Beginning of November. And just this past week, we've had Walmart go live. We've had Target go live. We've had Best Buy go live. Amazon just went live with a bunch of different Black Friday deals. And they've all said that they're going to be doing something weekly. So that's where I kind of come in, where I say, hey, most people don't know that this is happening unless you're someone crazy like me. So I'm just going to share when those deals and sales happen, so you guys can buy all those things you have on your list, whether it's a Nintendo Switch or, an Apple product, or if it's a special toy that you want, or, whatever the hottest item is. A lot of people want vacuums or scooters or hoverboards. When those things come out at Black Friday prices, I'm just going to let you know about them on Instagram stories, and I'm going to give you the link to the deal. So you have first chance to grab that item and check out before it sells out or the price changes. So during the holidays, end of October through November, that's what I do. Basically, I switch from sharing, some of the other things that I share, and we're kind of just in full Black Friday deal mode right now. And so that's basically where we're at.
Yeah, I've been watching already on your stories and saw some deals that I loved, like the Beats headphones. You could get $100 off. And I noticed it was sold out at Target, but then I went to Amazon and thought, well, if Target has it at this price, I bet Amazon does. And that's something like a trick of the trade, where it's like, once you get into it and you see something you want, if it is sold out somewhere, check the competitors, because a lot of times they'll have it at that same price as well. Have you found that to be the case?
Oh, for sure. It's always been like that, especially with Amazon, right? Because Amazon doesn't have a Black Friday ad. They do whatever they want, whenever they want. So, when all these other stores are coming out with their Black Friday deals or ads, a lot of times we'll see that Amazon has changed the price to match that ad price a few hours before, the day before, whatever, hoping that word will get out and people will buy it from Amazon instead of, through whatever store is having their sale. So yeah, that happens all the time.
I heard someone say recently, it was actually Paul, my husband, that came home and said, I heard this year it's possible that you can get better deals in store because online is such that stores are trying to filter through the actual content they have in their store versus what's available online. Do you think that that's true?
Man, I think that I honestly don't know. This is what being from a marketing background, sometimes I like to think backwards. And I know a lot of people might not think this way, so I try to walk them through this. Okay, if I was a store and all of my product was stuck on the edge of California in some vessel, right? I only have the product that I have in my warehouses, and I'm trying to sell all of that, right? But I don't want to sell it too cheap because I need to make money because I don't have enough, right?
Right.
So what I would think is that a lot of what these stores are going to do is I don't think we're going to see as extreme deals as we've seen in the past from Black Friday, we've already seen that. There have been great deals, and even the Black Friday ads that they have released for, like Walmart's doing a Black Friday ad for just this week, and they have another one for next week. And while some of those prices are great, they're not as amazing as the ones we've seen in the past. And so what I think that they'll end up doing is we're not going to see as amazing of deals. Plus, the stores have to make up the money that they're losing somewhere else. So what I think we're going to see happening, since we already are seeing that, is we have inflation everywhere right now. Everything is more expensive than it's ever been before. And in fact, I think our inflation rates are the highest they've been in the past 30 years. I know with groceries in general, we're seeing like 20% higher prices than just last year. So everything's more expensive, right? It's making things more difficult. So if I was a store and I was trying to make up money, I would have these Black Friday deals. And then I would raise the price of everything else in the store that wasn't a Black Friday deal. So when people come in to the stores and they're reading their Black Friday deal or whatever's the sale or whatever's on the front page of the ad, I'm making that money up with everything else in the store being more expensive, because you never go in for one thing. Let's be honest, especially at Target. Okay. You walk in and you end up with all the stuff in your cart. And unless you're like really, really detailed and looking at all these prices and have some crazy price chart, tracking prices for the last however many years, you wouldn't know that, right? You would just buy it. So in my mind, that's what they're going to have to do to make up the money that they're losing right now because they don't have enough in stock.
Yeah, that's true. I hadn't thought about it like that, but I think that's spot on. I think that can be, I am very much the personality of buying things early and in advance, where I know many others are more like fly by the seat of their pants. They like to do things last minute. But one thing that is bad for me personally about buying things in it early is sometimes I lose track of what I've bought. Or by the time Christmas comes around, I realize I might have too much, where I'm like, I am spoiling my kids rotten. Like, what would your advice be about keeping track of what you've bought and then also keeping your spending in check so that you don't overdo if you start too soon?
Yeah, that's a great point, especially this year, because I have been telling people since July that we were going to have stock issues. And honestly, I think it'll be kind of scary when we get to real Black Friday. Like if there's anything even left, I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Which is why I'm pushing so hard. Like, hey guys, buy it now. Like, don't do this to yourself. Don't cause yourself unneeded stress when they're having the same Black Friday deals now. Like literally every day, I am sharing Black Friday deals from major stores and even smaller stores. Everyone's doing things early because they just don't know if they're going to have anything later on. I mean, December, forget it. Like literally, if you're looking for something in particular, do not wait. And I forgot what your original question was. I was going to segue, but I forgot what the original question was.
Yeah. So the first was, how do you keep track and how do you avoid overspending?
Okay. So what I do is, on my computer and on my phone, I have the little notes app.
Mm-hmm.
And that is my most favorite feature of the entire Apple community. I
love it too.
They think. And so one thing I put somewhere ends up everywhere else, and I don't have to have lists, right?
Yeah.
So what I typically do is I will put I'll have a Christmas list note, and I will put each person's name and then the things that they want and, the main price or the sale price or whatever. And when I've purchased it, I put a check mark by it. So I know what I purchased for each person. And then if I need ideas, I'll put links to things there, so I know what else potentially could be there. So then when those Black Friday deals do pop up, I can look at my list and I'm like, okay, so-and-so wanted a switch. So-and-so wanted this. Okay, oh, great. We got that Black Friday deal done. Check mark, done. So then I have a list of just quickly. And that's really rudimentary to be honest, but it works for me and it's fast and it links to my phone. So whether I'm at a store or if I'm at home shopping on a computer, I know what's on purchase for each person and I know what I paid for it. And then I also know what things I might still be looking for. And there's a link there waiting for it.
Yeah. No, I actually love that. I shared that with some of my followers this week. I use the Notes app and keep a list of their favorites. Another thing that's fun to do right now that is I swear it's like a part-time job for my kids that's free, is I give them the Amazon magazine Black Friday list notebook that comes. It's so fun for the kids to look at. And I have them go through and mark what they want and put their name next to it. And then I have them rank it. And so I cannot tell you how much free entertainment that provides for my kids. way in advance, and it makes it fun. I think anticipation is the best part about Christmas, honestly, or even looking forward to a vacation is thinking about it coming. So I really utilize that. And then I'll take notes from that and then put it into my phone so that I can have that as a resource to know what they want. And then I pray to the heavens that they don't change their minds, because that's the worst.
Well, I love that idea. Unfortunately, so last year I had them do that. They circled almost everything.
My
Literally,
5-year-old did that.
Circles around every single product. And I was like, okay, that did not help.
That's why you have to do the ranking.
Yes, I do like that.
Yes, that's go through it again.
Then you're like, what do you want the most? Right.
Yes.
I also tell my kids, hey, you know what? Like Santa needs time. Santa needs time, and you can't change your mind. Okay. So you can't tell me that you want to tell Santa something new in December. Like, we don't do that here. Okay. Yeah. If you do that, you're not going to get anything. So you got to decide what you want. And if you want something new, you can wait till your birthday. So yeah. Cause I always have, comments from my followers being like, oh, my son decided they just wanted this. And I'm like, tell them too bad. There's plenty of other things. They can wait for it. Santa's busy. He doesn't have time for last minute changes.
No, he does not. And something I think that's really fun and helpful just for as a mom in general is that when you're out shopping and toys are everywhere, so it's in their faces and they see advertisements and whatever, I just tell my kids, okay, well, why don't you put it on your list? And whether that list is Christmas or your birthday, let's put that on your list. So if it's, can I have this? You just say, yeah, let's get it on your list and we'll make sure not to forget. And so it kind of, you're not saying no to them necessarily. You're saying, yes, let's put it on your list. And if they still remember it and they really feel passionately about it, however many months or weeks down the road, then great. But if not, then it doesn't become a fight in the store.
Yeah, no, that's a great idea. I think it's great.
So tell me about how you avoid overspending, because I know that you have a list, but do you ever get to, I don't know if this happens to you, because maybe you're like more disciplined, but have you ever got to Christmas where you're actually wrapping up the gifts and you're like, crap, there is like too much here? Have you ever had moments like that? And I've literally put them away for like, oh, well, Easter, it could be nice to give them this Lego set or whatever. Do you ever have moments like that where you're like, my husband accuses me of this, where he'll be like, sometimes you buy too early, that you buy too much. And maybe, I mean, just being more disciplined with the list would be a way to do that. But do you have any other ideas for that?
Well, I mean, I don't do that anymore, but I do remember when my daughter was 3, she had so many presents that it had to take multiple days to open them up because she was overwhelmed.
Oh.
And the funny thing is that I was in budget. I had found so many amazing deals and still like under our $100 or $150 budget. And, toys when they're younger are a lot cheaper anyway.
Oh yeah.
So we had like a play kitchen. We had all of this stuff that I just gotten insane deals on. And my husband just looked at me and he goes, what did you do? And I was like, I don't know. I stayed in budget. And so from that point on, I was like, hey, it doesn't really matter if you stay in budget, if it's just overwhelming and just too much. For me, for people who really want to stay in budget, you need to go backwards. So what I would do is I'd actually like at the top of the list, I'd put however much you're going to spend on each person. Let's say $100 to make it easy. I'd put it down and then I would go find the retail prices of each of the items that you want and put them down. So you have an idea of what the retail amount is for those items. And then when you find them on sale, you're able to change that price. So you know how much extra you have for each child. So that's what I would do if people are really worried about budget, instead of like just buying things and adding it up as you go.
I like that.
I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
what would you say because I do feel like younger kids are easier to buy for because there's so much more that what you can wrap up in the size of things. And, there's a lot more to wrap up. Now I have teenagers, or I have 18 and a preteen, and the things they want are so expensive that it blows the budget in one fell swoop. Like, what would your advice be I think at that stage, they know they have a better concept of money, but like, I just feel bad sometimes. And maybe that is stupid, but I feel bad sometimes for my older, like my son, where he opens just a couple things and you're like, well, that's it. But that's the reality. Like if they just want more expensive things, like is on a list for teenagers that you've seen where maybe you can give them gifts that they can open that don't cost as much, or like something that's more meaningful, or would have been some ideas for money saving in that regard?
For our family, we've started giving more things that are experiences or travel.
Yeah.
And, my kids are 12 and 9. So, they're not as old as your children, but this is my thing. In the years past, we've spent money on gifts and gotten them some great things and got them the things that they want on their list. And I think every parent has had this experience where their kids will either play with the items for like a week or two and then they're over it, or the items will break, or they decide they don't want them anymore. And you're like, wow, I just spent all this money on these items and now they're just sitting here thrown in like a toy chest. And wow, what a waste of money. Right. And so, over the years, my husband and I have just been like, you know what? Like, I would so much rather have experiences with them. And so we started traveling a few years ago. This will be our 4th or 5th year traveling for Christmas instead. Now, you can give a gift for Christmas where you're not traveling on Christmas, because traveling on Christmas is more expensive over the Christmas dates. If you were to travel in January, it's drastically cheaper. And you can do like scavenger hunts, elaborate scavenger hunts to make, the opening process longer and things like that we've done. But that's been the best thing we've ever done. And even it was funny because one year, it was 2 years ago, my husband was like, oh, let's stay home. I want to stay home for Christmas. He's from a small town. He likes that kind of thing. And I do too. It's just, I'm so stressed out from everything that I'm like, oh, I need a break.
You want to leave. Yeah.
Yeah. So we did it his way. And he's like, never again. I was like, I want that written down and I want you to sign it. That you said never again, because you will forget this moment and you will forget that you didn't like this and that you would much prefer to go on a vacation, because, every year it's a discussion. Right. So, and it doesn't even have to be, there's so many vacation deals. There's so many Black Friday deals for hotels and for destinations. And there's just so many things you can do that we've done that a lot over the years. And then as far as like other things, I know some families, they get ski passes, or they get, a season pass to amusement parks or things like that they can do as a family to create memories. And I just think as a teenager, I think teens know, hey, your one present equals 10 little kid presents, and I think that's just a conversation you have to have with your kids and be open with your money conversations with your teens, because they don't know unless you tell them. So it's just an open discussion you have to have with them so they know.
Yeah, I agree with you. And it's all that conversation's already happening with our family, where we talk about destination gifts rather than over things. But we typically, because my husband's job is in finance, we can't go until after the beginning of the year. So we'll typically go late January or February. But it's also helped with like seasonal depression that some of my kids struggle with being in the dark winter and having that to look forward to. And so for those who are looking for travel deals, what are your favorite websites or resources for where to find those deals?
I tell people to sign up for all the airlines they fly or they want to fly. They need to sign up for their emails because they will send out deals like every couple of weeks, usually on a Tuesday. With all their fare deals. That's when you can get really great deals on those. There's a lot of things you can do with miles, with credit cards, depending on if you're going to be, airline specific. For example, like we have a Delta credit card, Amex credit card, because we only fly Delta now, because we found it was better for us to fly one airline to rack up the miles and the points faster than it was for us to find the cheapest deal on whatever airline flew wherever. Plus it gives us the status to give us free upgrades and free bumps. So we liked that. Who doesn't want a free first class flight when you're flying, So we've done that and we've liked that a lot more than randomly finding deals. But if you're not in the position to do that, that's when you would use the emails to find the best, cheapest flights on Southwest or JetBlue or Alaska or whatever, because they send those emails out all the time.
Do you feel like, and I don't know how much you've looked into this, but I am hearing that there are amazing cruise deals right now because there are so few able to go. However, I don't know what the deal is with kids on cruises, because I have an aunt who just went on a cruise and she said they got a stateroom for like a third of the cost of what it would typically cost. But I don't know if you have to be vaccinated to be on a cruise ship. What are you hearing about that?
I haven't heard anything about it for about a month. But beforehand, every cruise line was different.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that Florida was stating and telling the cruise ships they couldn't mandate vaccines for the cruises, but then I know that it went to the Supreme Court. So I have no idea what happened with that. There might be some crazy deals for cruises, but if I was going to book a cruise, which I'm not, because I think it's the scariest place to book travel right now, in my opinion, because of all of the COVID strict rules right now. If I was going to book a cruise deal, I would book it out like a year or two in advance, and I would make sure that it was 100% refundable.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would do.
Yeah.
Because hopefully within a year or two, there won't be such crazy restrictions. We cross and hope our fingers. And, if there is, you just want to be able to get your money back, right?
Yeah.
I think everything right now, anything I'm booking travel-wise right now has to have 100% refundability or I won't book it. Whether it's hotel, flights, whatever. It's just not worth it. It's not worth the risk because things are just rapidly changing all the time.
So you would say right now for travel would you say stay in state if you're in the United States? Or, I mean, I have a friend right now in Austria and she said they've had the place to themselves because it's been that just people aren't traveling overseas right now. There just isn't much happening, but there are some really good deals. So what would you say to that?
Well, I think it comes down to each country's rules.
Right.
Some countries say you have to be vaccinated. Some are just needing a negative PCR test. Every country is different and it does change. So if you are going to go somewhere, I would make sure you understand what that is before you book. But yeah, if you're willing to go out of the country, you totally can. Mexico has been open the whole time. So Mexico is a really safe destination where you don't need a vaccine and you just need the negative PCR test to come back into the United States. I know that's, one you can usually find some pretty good and affordable deals for as well. We love traveling out of the country. A lot of the places that we do like to travel or have traveled before in the past have really strict rules right now. And so we haven't booked anything other than Mexico lately just because things are just changing all the time. You just don't know what you're getting yourself into. But yeah, I have heard the same thing with people who are going to certain countries. If you're willing to travel and you're comfortable traveling, like you should be for sure, especially if you can find the deals.
And do you think all-inclusives in Mexico, like, do you have a favorite all-inclusive you love to stay at in Mexico or like with your kids?
Every time we've gone to Mexico, we've stayed at a different place. There's so many places in Mexico, especially Cancun. I mean, there's hundreds of hotels, right? So I think it comes down to the family's needs and your budget. In our experience, we've literally only stayed at one place that had good all-inclusive food that we were like, wow, this is really good. And that was the Grand Moon Palace. The rest of the other all-inclusives we stayed at, the food's been fine, but it hasn't been anything to be excited about. If you like food like we do, you might out better, finding a place that isn't all-inclusive. But at the same time, if you have kids or teenage boys, all-inclusive is going to save you money for sure. So, and maybe, if you're just having chips and salsa and, all you can eat buffets all the time, like that might be a better fit for your family. Honestly, it just comes down to what your family's like and what saves you the most money.
Yeah, that's really good advice. All right. Well, to wrap this up, I want to make sure everyone knows where to follow you because like we said, the deals are always changing. They're coming out with new things every week. Please tell our followers. And I know on your stories right now, if you watch Melea's stories on Instagram, you are entered to win. Remind us what the prize is because I can't remember exactly.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So this is why I'm doing this. So I'm giving away 4 3-day park hoppers to Disneyland.
Amazing.
And we're giving away 100 $5 Amazon gift cards. And I'm doing this because I know moms have a lot on their mind. They've got a lot going on. I know Instagram or looking at stories is probably the last thing on your list to do. However, I am doing the work for you. So all you have to do is watch my stories. That's it. By doing so, number one, you're going to know when all the crazy Black Friday deals out and you'll be able to get them to save your family money, which is in your benefit anyway. And then as a bonus, just to help you remember to do that every day, that's when you'll be entered to randomly win one of those Amazon gift cards or the grand prize on December 10th, which is the Disneyland tickets. So basically every time you watch a story slide of mine, you're automatically entered. You don't need to comment. You don't need to DM me. You're automatically entered. I can see that on my back end who's watched it. So we're already giving out those Amazon gift cards every couple of days for people who have watched. So that way I feel like everyone wins, right? Because you're going to get the deals you're going to know about the Black Friday deals before everyone else, and save money. And then you might win an Amazon gift card or the Disneyland ticket. So
my fingers are crossed for that Disneyland trip. That sounds amazing.
I know.
I need to get back. Well, thank you so much. Oh my gosh, it's been so fun talking with you. If you haven't listened to our last episode, please do so. Melea is someone that will only give you the good stuff because she knows what matters and she really cares to help save you money. So Melea, thank you so much for your time. It's been so fun talking Black Friday with you. Wasn't that an incredible episode? I love so much what Melea had to say about taking your health into consideration when you're setting goals for yourself as a woman, an entrepreneur, and mother, really taking time for yourself to create success that matters to you. And I cannot tell you how much I loved this episode, and I had to pause it because I knew we were going to be shifting gears into talking about Black Friday exclusively and how it is such a unique Black Friday this year with the pandemic and shortages and everything else. So listen to the next episode to hear what you need to do to save money today.